Well, the developer stream just ended, and I will try to summarize on every single thing regarding this whole stream and giving myself some opinions. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to watch the VOD yourself. I will try not to edit too much on this because there's going to be a lot of things just talking about. So if I ramble here and there quite a lot, so pardon me, I am not going to sit down and just start editing this whole long footage and going over all of the things that I just put notes down when I was watching the whole stream. It's the same thing with the footage in the background. It's just going to be for the developer live stream. Once again, link in the description down below. The streams, it lasted for a little over an hour, and here it was a Q&A, future things coming like buffs to melee classes, new mastery sigils, and even something tied to the progression. So first things first, the new mastery sigil. We're getting closer to total mastery 1000. I literally recently just got to 975, so we're getting very close, and they wanted to implement a new sigil which is voted by the community, which is this here. Most players, myself included, voted for the second one, and in my opinion it just feels like an upgrade to the 950 total mastery, and it looks great. The second topic was going to be the Q&A, and I will try to summarize most of the important questions. So the first question was talking about meta classes and class rebalancing. Since most players are using the Boomeranger and Shadowhunter, and in most cases they seem to outperform literally every single class in the game, they are planning on shaking up the meta, but they don't want to nerf some of the top classes, Boomeranger, Shadowhunter to be more precise. So they're planning to add something to buff up the melee classes. This is something that they mentioned it a little bit later in the stream, but I'm just going to be talking about it right here, and that is going to be that they're going to be adding a new mechanical block. This will help out every single class, but it is going to be mainly focuses on the melee classes, and they did not mention anything outside of they're going to be implementing a block mechanic. So this might come out sooner than we think, because usually when they mention something coming out very soon, they usually just drop it in within a month. In my eyes, this is definitely good, not only because I am a knight main, but of course depending on how good or bad the mechanic is going to be, this is going to be a big upgrade for melee classes. It really depends on how it's implemented. Also, the Boomeranger is technically a melee class as well, so does that mean that the Boomeranger is going to get buffed? And I feel that this is going to be quite good depending on how it's implemented. The next question is someone asking about a buff to the magic damage classes. Question was using a little bit of in-game lingo, so like speed farming, difficulty 15, del DPS and all that. So let me just tell you guys, we know that the devs are working on the game, playing it. You think that they're going to know about speed farming dungeons, D15 5-star dungeon, delving DPS? Of course not. So the answer to this question was not too surprising. Again, they're targeting on melee classes right now, and they want to see a feedback regarding magic damage classes on Discord. My response to all of this is that physical damage characters are currently outperforming magic damage characters since the Shadowy Spotlight rebalancing in 2022, since a lot of the basic attack in this update got buffed like crazy, making this game currently right now with very basic attack focus, which is why most of the physical damage are good, because most of the physical damage character are good in terms of his basic attack. Magic damage character work in terms of his ability, so seeing a lot of the abilities like the Chloromancer's Plan, Tomb Raiser Minion, Draco Minion, Pyre Captain Turret, getting either a very small buff or a nerf to its damage output is going to make them take too long to set up, but still end up doing the same DPS as basic attack type characters. And a lot of the content focuses more on quick burst damage, long shade 5-star dungeon, regular dungeons, and even powering up from the beginning to the end. It focuses more on quick burst damage, so basic attacks are going to be better because they are faster and cost no resources. And the only play with the magic damage classes would just thrive. Bosses, delving, and all of that. Boomeranger's insane burst DPS is going to triumph over everything. This is why most physical damage classes are being used, because they do have better ability for most of the contents in the game, which is a basic attack, and most abilities kind of suck, and that's why the magic damage classes are not being used right now. Next question, and this is another somewhat poorly asked question, but to summarize, are there plans on reworking the knight's dodge, and will you make ability scales off of attack speed? That some abilities have limitation and how they are affected by attack speed, and the knight's dodge is something that they can look into. Pretty much the whole summary to that whole answer. Now, most dodges in the game have a set animation, and towards the end of the animation you are going to get an end lag, causing the character to slow down, which is why it's best to do a jump dodge, so jump and doing a dodge so you don't get that end lag. However, the knight has the longest dodge animation in the game, and with that it has the longest end lag in the game, which is why the dodge is the worst in the game. It kills the whole movement speed completely and is just not useful like at all. The second part of the question is regarding the abilities scaling off of attack speed. Like I just mentioned before, abilities are either too slow or take too long to set up, and in many cases they don't do enough damage to warrant the amount of time that they take to set up. That's why most people use basic attack, because it's no resource, your fastest attack in the game, and it doesn't require any setup. Which is why if they make ability scale off of attack speed, they're going to make them way better, like Revenant's Bulwark Bash, Candy Barbarian Vanilla Swirlwind, the Night Spirit Square Smash, going to be a lot better if they are made faster or scale off of attack speed. Of course, we don't know the internal limitations of the game, which is why it probably cannot be done. The next question will be quite disappointing, to say the least. We get extra dragon coins rewards since the grind takes long, and also a better description of certain materials, since sometimes it gives like pretty much a vague description on how to get them. They're planning to add a feature to help out the mid to end game players, similar to what they did with the tutorial update, even though the tutorial update kinda sucks, but a lot of people seem to disagree. They're planning on adding something similar to mid to end game, similar to what they did with the tutorial update. However, the most disappointing thing is going to be the dragon coins, and they said that they added a new store pack that appears when the Trials of Luxia arrive, similar to the dragon coins power deal, and that's it. So let me tell you one thing. There are over 70 dragons in Trove, and they're mandatory for progression. The way of obtaining dragon coin has not changed ever. With the Trials of Luxia and Fluxion being added, you spend way too many dragon coins. A lot of people cannot physically obtain that amount of dragon coins, even if they do all of the hourly. I personally have every single dragon in the game, yes, including the dragon that got added in the Sunfest event, and I can assure you, getting all of the fragments in the game sucks. And then you add the dragon coin value, it feels like it's a little bit too much, and seeing that you need dragon coins to power up, I feel the system needs to be a lot more approachable, rather than just being like, oh yes, you can just buy it from the store. Not everyone's just going to spend real life money, and not everyone is going to sit down and just wait for the legendary time or wait for the collection challenges. No one likes waiting, I can assure you that much, especially when it comes to progression. I could go on and on and on, but you get the point. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is going to be,
do you ever plan on adding cross save?
I'll answer that. No. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole Q&A. The last thing that they did mention was the big announcement, and that is Mystic Gems. Yes, they are coming, and considering that it got announced in this stream, I'm pretty sure it's going to arrive sooner than we think. Now, the only thing that got confirmed outside of Mystic Gems being a thing is that there's going to be a gem conversion similar to what they did with the Crystal Gem conversion from Stellar to Crystal. I'm pretty sure there's going to be something similar from Crystal to Mystic. And considering that the Crystal Gem conversion is a little bit expensive, kind of afraid of how the prices are going to be on this one. Hopefully not, but that's probably going to end up being the case. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. More gems, more levels, more power rank. It's good, more stuff to do. However, I'm kind of afraid on how they are going to implement this, considering the track record on Crystal Level 5 and Mystic Gear, because I've read people just being like, oh yes, we already have maxed out gems. And that's why I'm afraid. Considering that Crystal Level 5 Mystic Gear got implemented being extremely expensive, tackling players that are out, I wouldn't be surprised if they just make this equally just expensive, or just make the players not max out immediately. Some people are still having a little bit trouble with maxing out their crystal gems, especially towards the later part of crystal gems. If they just keep them the way that they are, just taking a lot longer to actually just max out, then that means that they're going to be another wall put into the progression. And also just keep in mind that a lot of players duplicated their way to high power rank, so insane amount of gem resources and insane amount of all of this stuff regarding the augmentation. So I'm afraid on how they'll try to combat those players by putting insane amount of requirements or create brand new resources for this alone, similar to what they did with Mystic Gear. Also, in power gems, how can we obtain them? Crystal and power gems already are pretty bad to get. How are we going to get Mystic and power gem? Grinding lesser gems. Will they spawn in long shade, or will they add a new difficulty, upgrades, and more? Too many questions, but little answer. We had to wait and see essentially when they get added. One thing that I can say is that depending on how strong these gems are, this might make long shade or difficulty 15 grinding a lot more enjoyable with other classes, so you don't have to force yourself using the boomeranger. But that's a lot of speculation. We have to essentially wait and see how it gets implemented. This is just essentially the whole big addition that they just implemented, that and the block mechanic. But that's all for today. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check out the Developer Livestream in the description down below. There's also going to be a full guide on the Sunfest event that will come out Friday, so stay tuned. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Leave a like, sub, you know, all that stuff that makes the YouTube content creator happy. And I hope to see you guys next time. Take care, keep on hunting, and stay tuned for more news.